What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Lunar Classic had a pretty strong pump, but it has pulled back. I want to take a look at exactly why I think that is. Take a look at the global market as well, because we've got some interesting price movement coming up. And more importantly, the Lunar Classic movement is starting to gain some real momentum. Why? We'll talk about it all in this video. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything going on in crypto and Lunar Classic. Let's dive into it. Let's take a look at the markets. Up 0.7%. That's right. 816 billion up there, nearly a percent. You can see Bitcoin is rallying up towards that 17K, along with ETH at 1229, starting a real nice movement coming out of this Christmas break. A couple of tokens though, XRP nearly 6% up. You see Matic nearly 3%. Again, the rallying up on the back of the Christmas break, as well as things like Quant, Apecoin, Algorand, all starting to move. And the 39th, that's right, 39th, that's one more place up, highest ranked cryptocurrency is Lunar Classic. $142.7 million in volume, going to be looking pretty nice for that Binance burn, and $940 million. We did break back into $1 billion market cap. We have pulled back a little bit in the last kind of 15 to 20 minutes. But 1575 is the price, up nearly 6% on the day. You can see outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, when we take a look at the chart, you can see we are fighting the bulls and the bears in particular, with Lunar Classic really starting to fight this out. We saw this nice move on the hour chart. We had three solid green candles topping out here at 16.5. We actually went from a 15.7 to a 16.5. Big money into Lunar Classic. You can see that we did, however, come back down to the 15.6s, but you can see the bears and the bulls are fighting it out. I've drawn some real key points, historical points of support and resistance here on the draft. We've got 15.8, 15.89, 16.0 and 16.2. If we can break through them, we are massively over the 50-day EMA on the chart as well. So interesting to see, but definitely some movement, which is always a positive. Now, why is it, you might ask? Well, we've got a couple of updates, in particular some proposals that have been put forward that actually really align to, I think, the core values of what we set out to do with Lunar Classic. You can see volume staying pretty stable around that 20 billion mark, the community pool at 1.65 billion, and that is important to think about as we talk about the next couple of bits. That staking ratio looking pretty good. When we come across here though, there is a couple of proposals. Now, we talked about the triple 11 about repelling the proposal 10983, getting things back to the way they were before, whether that be burn tax, what's minted, post burn, and going back into that community pool. And we now see the joint layer 1 task force. Now, if you don't know what that is, go and check the video down in the description. It's going to tell you everything about this. But this is the official movement and community vote for it. Why is it important? Well, this is what makes Terra Lunar Classic great, that it's a community vote. So it might be the best idea you've ever heard of in cryptocurrency, but unless the community want it, unless those validators vote on our behalf, or equally you vote yourself, then these are passes. And it says here, in recognition of the maintenance updates required for Lunar Classic blockchain, I propose that the Lunar Classic community contracts several experienced blockchain developers to complete the required updates and upgrade the stabilize the layer 1. At the height of Terra, Terraform Labs had a team of 6 to 8 layer 1 blockchain developers. Now, this is important because it is Edward Kane, Zaradar, and a number of other people that ultimately were the kind of driving force around the original revival of Lunar Classic. And I think it's a big important point. Now, you can already see some sentiment. We have 8 that have voted yes. You can see Thor, Lunatics token, nothing really other than TCB being at 7.33%, a lot of these smaller ones. But we do know all nodes, Interstellar voted to repel the 10983 proposal, so we would expect them to do that. Again, we've got 7 days, which is the only downside to this. It does take obviously a long time for this to get put through, but ultimately we've got to meet this quorum for this to go through, and then the layer 1 task force will be formed. And ultimately, I think it's a really important part of this. It is absolutely what we're looking for. It develops the blockchain in a way that we want to do it. And I think the key part again to this is there is a established roadmap. There is a key direction in which they want to take it, and ultimately there's an absolute point of validation, testing, and upgrading. I think that's exactly what we need, all of which aligning to both support the community pool to allow further developments on it. And I think a little bit of a nod to TFL. Never forget where you've come from, but have ambitions to be better in the way we are going. So you can see here, January 23, there's a ton on this roadmap. Again, check that video out that goes through it in greater detail. And here is the developers and how they want to split that money. Now, it is going to cost us $150,000 yet again. I did my video yesterday in where the original $150,000 250,000, people are actually passing that back. And I think it's always a good thing, and ultimately probably tells us exactly where the sentiment was originally with that. This feels like it's a much more thought out plan. It's a much more deliberate plan, and ultimately is going to deliver us a better project and product at the end of it. And I genuinely think that's why we're seeing this move on the market now. You can see we're back up to this 15.8 level, and I think it's going to be a very interesting run for Terra Luna Classic. We could really start to see this move in a big way. Definitely, if you consider we come out to the daily chart, which I think is worthwhile looking at. Now, you all know my opinion in terms of charting, but look, we have broke through that trend line down. We came back and bounced off and headed back up there. So this is a real important point with Terra Luna Classic. But as ever, I think when we get this positive sentiment, when we get this movement forward, and we get these community votes that come forward and ultimately then support the longevity of the chain, then I think it's a pretty big thing. If we take a look at the burn tax, and I think it's important to reference that because this is where some of this information is really important, and this continuation of removing supply, which has to be at the forefront of everything we do. You can see that we have 2 million from Binance users. We have quite a few going through on the 26th, and we saw this when we were running up to the 6s. We know we got the Binance burn coming soon. Will they then support afterwards? Time will tell, but don't forget, stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to the channel to get that Binance update in terms of what I think the votes are. We were pretty close last time, so it will be definitely a good view for you to check out that. But that video will be dropping very, very soon. As ever, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything going on. Leave a like on this video if you are still bullish on Luna Classic. Leave a like and we'll hit the 16s in the next 24 hours. I'm pretty sure of it. As ever, take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.